Welcome, Sameer Nair,
Thank you
to
so much.
COT. It is so good to have you over.
No.
You're producing amazing stuff back to back. But so behind your back, Bharat has been saying that it was the Kathak which made the show a hit.
I think so.
It was only the
From the horse's mouth. You
It
think
was
I was
specifically
speaking
that,
like
and that very unique and very distinctive kind
I
of
think
layout
Sameer
of that
gave
character.
a contract to Hansal on that one point, that if you can get Bharat to do Kathak, we'll give you the show.
I couldn't agree. And you know what we discussed? Since Scam was broken into two parts, one and one, the cliffhanger, the 5th episode, is when Bharat appears on the
and then people are
on the
waiting
show.
for the balance 5.
And I think that was the cliffhanger to get
No,
the
but,
rest.
seriously, I'll tell you what we were discussing is that normally you have a 10 episode thing that comes in a
Right.
row, and then people binge watch it or whatever. This was, I think, one of the first, or maybe one of the few examples where you had a 2-month break after the 5th episode.
Yeah.
And from what he said just now is that the viewership was greater for the
Second part.
Second part, which is the amazing thing.
And I think there are various reasons why this is happening. I think it's happening because, this whole binging phenomena, which was introduced by Netflix and has become such a wild success, has also introduced audiences to instantaneous consumption. So you release the show on Friday, by Monday it's all done and dusted and finished, and people move on to new things. So I think what happens is by breaking up the release, which is how TV used to work originally, is that you keep the conversation going longer. You keep the excitement going longer. All the excitement around the show stays alive longer. So that's a sensible thing to do. It keeps subscribers engaged with the platform for longer.
Yeah.
As compared to, I'm done and dusted on the
So
weekend.
he made a point. He says that there are subscribers who just want to watch one program, so they would not take an annual subscription. They would take a monthly subscription just to watch that program.
So I think increasingly what happens, like for any business to work well, you need, daily or monthly active consumption.
Yeah.
In any product, if you look at toothpaste or petrol, we use it daily. We use your phone daily or hourly, if that is the case. So I think that's really the plan.
Yeah.
And we've done it before. I think Criminal Justice was done like that on Hotstar, where we released 1 by 1 episodes. That's what Hotstar had done. I think Tanav we did broken up into 2 parts. We released 4 and then I think 2 and 2 and 2. This thing also worked out really well. I mean, of course, we were all, like I'm sure, Danish and us, we were all like a little nervous and wondering.
Yeah.
But
So-
it turned out really well.
What's the future plan on Scam? There are lots of Scam, coal, fodder, spectrum. You're coming out with the next. A lot of politicians must be on pins and needles.
No, not really. I don't think there is, when we are doing the Scam series, we are always looking to find an interesting story where the story does involve somebody, that is coming out of nowhere, proceeding to do something that is quite unbelievable, getting away with it for a considerable length of time before coming unstuck. So I don't think we come with any agenda to, doing an expose of any kind.
Yeah.
I don't think our Scam series is Tehelka.
But do you get questions to have an agenda? I'm sure you must have. People must be like, no, tough. Legalities, litigation, a lot of that.
No, I mean, you've got to, obviously, we have, big legal team that works on it. We work with the
They must be
platform
very
very
active
closely.
with this kind of content.
And all of them are.
Hugely
and
active.
it's important because, see, also the idea is not to sort of, malign anyone. The idea is not to, tell a story in a manner which, puts people at, disadvantage just because they're not getting a chance to, speak out themselves. So I think we do it quite responsibly. The idea is that these kind of stories are interesting because these characters in many cases tend to be those anti-heroes.
That's right.
And it's also an underdog story.
Yeah, and
Underdog always works.
and
Underdog
usually it
doing
tends
it,
to
making
happen
it
in
big.
that manner, and people like to see those kind of things.
The common people who are underdogs and now they've made it big.
Absolutely.
In a bad way, in an illegal way,
Correct.
but they've made it big. So they see the struggle of these guys.
I mean, Hansel said a really nice thing about Gagan for Scam 2. So the brief...
Gagan is Telgi.
Gagan is Telgi.
Yeah.
And the brief to him was that Hansel told him that don't read up anything about Telgi. Don't do any research, don't Google him, don't do anything. Here is the guy and this is the script. So you be that guy because it's really important for that actor as that character to believe in his own story.
But the fact is, Applause, when you talk about production today, when you talk about great content, over the almost like half a decade or less, you've taken it from a nothing to one of the biggest big brands. Having said that, you have a reputation of creating content, investing in the entire thing before approaching OTT platforms. How risky is that?
Well, it is risky. We've had a good run so far, and I hope that continues. But I think what we are trying to do in this is that because this whole business is so new, and like what happened in the US was when Netflix launched, is that they got an opportunity to buy all of this content, which was anyway being made on US television, for their streaming service. So Netflix has essentially been built on aggregated content from all the networks. When streaming came to India, all the networks here are showing daily soaps and game shows, right? Because that's the current offering on TV. So when you want to create premium drama, you have to literally create it. So I think what we are doing, in a sense, is working as a complement to the platforms. We do a lot of heavy lifting ourselves. We do all the writing, we do the casting, we take a certain degree of risk in the production of it. And we help this process. I think everyone working in their own way is all helping towards growing this industry. Obviously, there are distortions that happen and people go and spend large amounts of money. All of that happens. Yeah. But I don't think what we are doing is as risky as it seems. But on the other hand, it's obviously thoda risk hai to ishq hai.
Risk hai to ishq hai. Scam 90 crore.
और पैसे कमाए नहीं बनाए
जाते हैं. Thank you so much, and thank you for producing great content.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Bharat.
Thank you.
And it's actually all that we do is because of the wonderful team we have and the wonderful people we work with. So we've been fortunate from the get-go to be working with a real fine collection of writers, directors, actors, producers, our own team. So I think they say it takes a village to make a film. And I must say that if nothing else, we've spawned 50, 60 villages.
Absolutely. And we look forward to some more new villages coming up soon. And look forward to that content. Most importantly, close up. Who is the tallest? 6'1". Sameer stands tallest in the train. Let's check the height. Who's the tallest? And that takes us to number 2. Scam 2003 on SonyLIV.
That's
what a show. What a show. So number 2, we have Scam 2003, Abdul Karim Telgi's saga of the Stamp Paper King for a multi-crore scam.
And you know why the program did so well?
Why?
Because I act in it. I mean, there are other people. There are other actors. That whole thing rests on me, but there are people.
Listen, I think the entire plot revolves around the Kathak dance. What do you think?
The Kathak dance was the highlight of the thing.
Scam
and all that, people forgot that.
Completely agree.
I mean, I don't know if our data shows that, but most people said, "आपको क्या याद है scam से? Kathak dance याद है."
I completely
scam
agree.
में था क्या? कुछ ऐसे पूछते हैं लोग बाद में.
So anyway, that's what I would also like to believe, but I'm so sorry to say people like the scam. They love the scam, and I'm sure. But I love the Kathak Bharat, and as where we started from, it's not about what you think, what I think. It's all about the data. And this show was done by Applause Entertainment. Applause created the first scam. They didn't create the scam. They actually produced the show on the scam, which was a massive hit as well. How a man exploited India's own policy and financial instruments in a manner which played along for a lifetime. The corruption, the bribery, the underhand officials, the whole system, the manipulation, everything done by a man who literally wore chappals throughout the entire series, and a man who lived larger than life. I personally think the dance bar brought him down, from what I gather out of the show. Not that we can reveal too much to people who haven't watched it.
Instead of going and watching a dance bar girl dancing, if you had watched my Kathak dance, you would have survived.
Okay, let's get on with the Kathak. Bharat is so fascinated with the Kathak. But it was good, Bharat. The Kathak was...
I was taught for 3 hours by a nephew of Sitara Devi.
To do the Kathak.
To do the Kathak. I had kajal, I had ghungru, I had a dupatta tied around my waist, and I did Kathak.
So when this entire episode happened, Bharat, just tell us a little of the entire backdrop of this scenario, how you would have seen it and experienced it.
I'll tell you one thing, the connect that I also have genuinely with this is that this entire thing, Abdul Karim Telgi, started in Belgaum, which is where I was born. My mother is from Belgaum, and I was born in Belgaum. And this guy was a fruit seller.
So you knew him personally?
I didn't know him.
But you knew of him.
If I knew him, would I act in these? I would have been a multi-millionaire. I would buy a channel if I knew him. 38,000 crores in 98 is the kind of scam he had.
That's equal to...
But here's a guy, see, Harshad Mehta scam was not really a scam. It was manipulating the system and trying to make money. This thing was a genuine scam. Here was a fruit seller who came here, got arrested, met somebody in the jail, and then got this brilliant idea of doing stamp papers.
Wow.
And it's fantastic. And the guy who's played Abdul Karim Telgi, Gagan, he's a brilliant actor.
Listen, Gagan is so Telgi because I've tried to match the visuals when you come in the end with Gagan and Telgi.
They are not the dialogues, the attitude, the way he stands, the way he talks, amazing.
And one magical thing you see about these characters off screen and the real character, they are so convincing.
Yeah.
They speak with so much ease and conviction that you will really fall into that thing. Even if you go to the Harshad Mehta scam, Harshad Mehta had the same quality, right? So if you talk to you, you would really believe into what he's saying.
Yes.
So looking at the demographic profiling, Bharat, of Scam 2003, absolute male skew. 63% of the audiences of the 13.35 million. Now let me just elaborate on 13.35 million. It is 1.33 crore people who watched that show on SonyLIV. Out of those 1.33 crore people, 65 were male. That male happened because of the Kathak or was it something else?
No, that's why. Now I understand this. When I walk on the roads, I have people coming and taking selfies with me because the 1.33 crores have watched me on this.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Absolutely. 35% females watched Scam 2003. And that's the number in terms of males.
And region-wise, what was the...
Region skew, very good. Bharat, brilliantly spread. North at 32%, West at 34%, East at 18%, and South at 16%. Age group 25 to 34 dominated the viewership of the 13.35 million viewers. 42% were 25 to 34, followed by 37%. Since you have an advertising background as well, are the biggest spenders. 25 to 44 add up to 79%. So 80% of the viewership came out of this age group. What a heartening number.
Huge. And that whole thing that we do about binge watching and thing, did that happen with this?
Very high binge score.
I'll tell you why I'm asking, because we did the first 5 episodes first. Then we had a gap.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 10 episodes at a stretch. We had 5 episodes and there was a few months gap.
Yeah.
And then the balance 5. So I was very curious to know myself, did people go back immediately after the moment they announced that now we are releasing the balance 5 episodes? Did they go back because they were waiting for it? How did that happen? It would be very interesting to know this.
I'm so glad, Bharat, you've raised such a fantastic point. So if you look at the binge score, the number of people, and what we define as binge is number of people who watched 3 episodes continuously. That's like a threshold. If content is good, you will hang on. 41% of the total audiences of 13.35 million binged watched it, which means they started the first episode, they watched at least 3 episodes. That's the number.
I was very curious because what happens normally when a program gets released, it has 10 episodes and then they have a season 2. Here they had...
You broke it down.
5 episodes, then there was a gap, maybe a month and a half or whatever the gap was, and then the balance 5 were released. Now, does that affect the viewership is what I want to know.
I think it does affect the viewership to a great extent for very high binge content, but fortunately in the case of Scam, the binge score was very high, 41%.
And I'll tell you why that was so. In the 5th episode, I was introduced. So they knew that from the 6th I'll be on.
So you were the cliffhanger.
Correct.
That's the word. You are the cliffhanger. And the Kathak.
See, I don't like to boast. So
I know you are hugely modest.
I'm a very humble guy. So
completely agree. So I think the cliffhanger for Scam, we have come to the conclusion. The hero of Scam was Bharat. The high point of Scam was the Kathak. And the cliffhanger on Scam between part 1 and was 2 was none other than Bharat. No, I hope you agree with this.
But there were other people, so it was a team effort. I mean, the guy who played
the Talkie character and all.
They were there. I mean, they're small roles, but everybody contributes. I don't want to take the full credit for this.
Brilliant.